Hey everybody, welcome back to Minus the Gym. In this video, I want to give you guys a beginner calisthenics routine that's approachable for anyone and requires absolutely no equipment. And what I mean by approachable for just about anyone is that I'm going to show you the basic exercises that we're going to use, but I'm also going to include regressions, which are modified versions that are easier. So if you find the basics to be too hard, there is still a way to do this, all right? Now, make sure you watch till the end of the video because I'm going to explain warming up, cooling down, frequency of the workout, and all those details at the end. But let's dive right into the first exercise. We're going to start with this posterior exercise, which is a straight bridge, also known as a reverse plank. So what you want to do is you want to start off by sitting on the floor and putting your hands kind of right next to behind your hips. And then you want to drive down with your shoulders and upper back as well as your heels. You're going to use your lower body driving the heels down and raise your body up so it's in a straight diagonal line like this. And this is a straight bridge, also sometimes called reverse plank, and just hold that position for as long as you can. As you're holding this, make sure you really focus on sticking the chest out and opening at the shoulders because that's part of the benefit of this exercise. You're not just working your posterior, but you're stretching the anterior. You're really opening the chest and the internal rotators, all right? Now, if you find this exercise to be too hard, here are a couple regressions you can use. First one to try is the tabletop. With a tabletop, your legs are bent at the knees, so you're straight from the shoulders through the torso all the way to the knees. That's why it's called a tabletop. It kind of looks like a table, and then you have the four legs holding up the table. But if tabletop is still too hard, here's another regression you can do. Get into crab position, which is this quadruped position here with your hips slightly off the floor. And then you want to try to raise your hips up into tabletop. Just do the best you can and then go back down and repeat that for reps. And what that's going to do is strengthen the posterior, also help you open up that anterior until you can get to the point that you can hold tabletop, right? So then once the crab up into tabletop is somewhat easy, start holding the tabletop position and then go from tabletop to straight bridge. Now, I recommend for every exercise, there's going to be 4 exercises in this workout. I recommend doing each for 3 sets, and you should rest 2 minutes at least between sets. So we want to optimize our strength for each set. The whole purpose of this workout is not, to get your heart rate up and burn a lot of calories or anything like that. This is going to be a strength-focused workout, so you can build a solid foundation of strength using no equipment. And by the way, if you're interested in following along with me set by set on your phone, this program is in the Minus the Gym Tribe app. It's called Square One. So if you want, I'll put a link to the app in the description box down below, and you can download the app and try this out. All right, it's called Square One if you want to follow along with me on your phone. And with that said, let's jump into exercise number 2. So here we're going to shift focus back to the anterior now, and we're going to focus on push-ups. Now, I recommend you go for standard push-ups, which means you're on your hands and toes on the floor. And I've covered proper push-up form many times on the channel, but the gist of it is you want to make sure you're holding the contraction in your core, right, the transverse abdominis, as well as the glutes. That's really important on just about every exercise, but especially on push-ups, and that you have proper movement of the scapula, meaning you want to feel your shoulder blades moving as you bend at the elbows. You want to retract as you go down, protract as you go up. But if push-ups are too difficult for you, here's how you want to regress these. I don't recommend kneeling push-ups, although they're not horrible. They do kind of change the push-up a bit. I recommend keeping your body in a perfectly straight position by using incline push-ups. So for example, here's me at my breakfast bar. You just need some kind of sturdy, elevated platform like a countertop or something like that. Place your hands on that platform and perform push-ups just like you would on the floor. And that's an incline push-up, so you have less resistance on your body. And if the incline push-ups are still too hard, you can go to a wall and do wall push-ups. To do those, you just want to start at the wall, about arm's length from the wall. Take one small step backwards so you can lean into it a little bit and perform your push-ups against the wall. Again, 3 sets, 2 minutes rest in between. You want to optimize strength on each set. And then you move on to exercise number 3. We're going to shift focus back to the posterior, specifically the lower body, and we're going to do bodyweight squats. So for these, toes pointed slightly outwards, feet about hip width apart. Start by moving the hips backwards and bending at the knees. Lower down as low as you can comfortably, and then lift back up. Don't obsess too much over squat form. I know a lot of people do, but the beauty of bodyweight squats is that you're not bearing any weight. So the odds of you hurting yourself are much slimmer than if you're doing, say, back squats at the gym with a barbell on your back, all right? So what you want to do if you need to regress these, I recommend doing partial range of motion. So typically it's a mobility issue. You just want to go down maybe halfway to thighs parallel to the floor and then lift back up, and then gradually increase the range of motion as you build strength and increase your mobility. Also, if you're a little older, maybe you're struggling with balance, you're afraid you might topple over, something like that, you can always put a chair behind you. And then you just squat down, touch your bum to the chair, and then lift back up. And that way you've got the chair there to catch you just in case. One other thing about squats, guys, when you're doing bodyweight squats, at first you might just get 10 reps or whatever, maybe 10 to 20, or even less, depending on where you're starting at, and that's perfectly fine. But as you progress at these and build strength, because the lower body, those thigh muscles are big, and you're gonna build a lot of strength pretty fast there, you might get to doing 30, 40, 50, 60 reps in a set, and that's perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with taking these to failure, like I recommend on each set in this workout. All right, take it to muscular failure, and if you're up there at 40, 50 reps or whatever, so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. Now you're ready for the fourth and final exercise, shifting focus back to the anterior, but we're gonna hone in on the core. So we're gonna do lying leg raises. Start these off by lying on the floor and make sure you tighten your core, right? Suck it in like you're putting on a tight pair of pants. That's how you brace your core. Also, your glutes should be contracting as well. And this is gonna help you kind of stay stationary and protect your lower back as you lift your legs up. I recommend raising the legs to less than vertical. So instead of 90 degrees, which would have almost no resistance from gravity, aim for more like maybe 60 to 80 degrees or something like that. This is just gonna be better for overall time under tension, because when you go completely vertical with your legs, there's just not a lot of resistance. If these are too difficult, the way I recommend regressing the lying leg raises is by doing lying knee tucks. So you want to start off by lying on the floor. Again, contract the core and the glutes. That's important for any of these exercises. Raise the heels just off the floor and then bring the knees up towards your chest, and then extend the legs again and perform lying knee tucks. So there you have it. Those are the 4 exercises, 3 sets of each, 2 minutes rest in between. All right, it's a fairly lengthy workout, maybe 30 minutes or something like that. But the beauty of this is you can do it while you're watching Netflix in the evening or whatever. You can do it right in your living room. You can do it anywhere. Do it in your bedroom. You don't need any equipment. And make sure you use the regressions if you need to. If the main exercises are too difficult, use a regression. I know there's no specific rep range that you need to work in. I like to work in, if I'm going heavy, like the 5 to 8 rep range, but there's nothing wrong with going much higher, 10, 15, 20 reps. So just see how that basic exercise feels, like the foundational one that I mentioned. And if it's too difficult, if you feel like you can't do it right, or your reps are too low, maybe you're getting like less than 5 reps, then use a regression. And you can always get creative. You can always come up with your own regressions to make the exercise even easier to meet your current fitness level. How often should you do this workout? Well, believe it or not, you can build strength consistently with as little as twice a week, all right? Because if you're taking sets to failure and you're doing 3 sets, then a few days recovery might actually be optimal. It's gonna help ensure that you make progress more often. But you can also increase this to 3 times a week. Now, I wouldn't recommend probably more than 3 times a week if you're going to failure and hitting these same exercises. At that point, it'd be good to branch out into a split routine, something like push-pull legs or upper-lower, something of that nature. Now, on the topic of warming up and cooling down, if any of these exercises or the regressions you're going to use are so challenging that you can only get 5 reps or less before you're at your max, then you should probably warm up. And in that case, I'll put something on the screen here, or maybe here. No, I think it's here. It's my calisthenics warm-up routine. So you can go check out that video, and I'll show you a whole quick, I think it's about a 5-7 minute routine to warm up your whole body. But if you're gonna be working in higher rep ranges, maybe 10 plus reps, 15, 20, 30, whatever, then the beauty of bodyweight exercise is that the first set itself is like a warm-up. In fact, a lot of people at the gym are using bodyweight variations for their warm-up, right? So, and it's kind of like Jack LaLanne said. I don't know if you remember Jack. He said, have you ever seen a lion warm up before it takes down a gazelle? It's just sort of like unnatural to have to warm up. And I know what he means. I often do skip my warm-up, believe it or not. But if this is going to be a very challenging workout, then yes, make sure you do the warm-up routine, and I'll put a link also down below in the description for that warm-up video. In terms of cool down, just walk around, right? You can just walk around your living room or wherever you're working out and just walk it off. Wait till your heart rate comes down and boom, you're good to go. You don't need to stress about it. I want this routine to be as simple and approachable as possible. No equipment, very simple, just 4 exercises, 3 sets of each, twice a week, maybe 3. Focus on building up those reps or seconds for the holds on the straight bridge. And that's it, guys. Let's see, anything else I want to say in this video? I don't believe so. I think that's everything. But I will mention, guys, it's already halfway through January, right? And I think for a lot of you who set a New Year's resolution kind of goal to get back into fitness or to start your fitness journey, if you've fallen off the wagon or maybe you never started, you might be getting discouraged. And I just want to tell you, do not be discouraged. All right, with fitness, I mean, you can accomplish a lot in just 4 weeks, right? I mean, you can do an entire transformation in 12. I see people do it all the time. So there's still 50 weeks left of 2024. There is no reason to feel discouraged. And that's why I put this routine out there in this video, because I want you guys to see that you don't need any equipment. You can do a simple workout like this just maybe 2 or 3 times a week right in your living room while you Netflix and do whatever, and it's very approachable for just about anyone, and it will make a difference. All right? So if you want to learn more from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And with that said, I'll see you in the next video. Talk to you then.